Welcome students. Today we are going to discuss a problem that elders impose upon the children their own views, their own opinions, and there is a clash because the world of children is innocent, simple. They believe in fairy tale, relaxation, and a pleasant world where the good prevails over the evil. But the grown up or the adult mind is realistic. They want that their children should not be hurt in this cruel world, and they want to impose, they want to tell them, but the way in which they tell makes all the difference. Now, today we will take up the study of one such story where a 4-year-old daughter is told a story by his father, and the father wants that his child should learn from it. It's from the Flamingo. And the name of the story is Should Chapter 6. Should wizard hit mom? The author of this story is John Updike. He's an American and has won many awards for his stories and novels that he has written. And this story has been taken from one of his works. The story mainly states as follows, that one Jack used to narrate stories to his daughter Jo. She's 4-year-old. And Jack has been telling her stories for the last 2 years at the, to make her sleep. It was usually at the time of bedtime stories. And the stories were basic tale. Basic tale where an animal named Jack, creature, small creature. It will always be Roger, but it can be fish, chipmunk, and rabbit. On this specific day, it was Saturday, and the child was being told the story. And see, the child was very inquisitive by this time. After hearing such type of stories, she had become very inquisitive. Now when he asks her what type of story does she want to hear, the pat comes out the answer that today she would like to hear a story about skunk. It will be Roger's skunk. Skunk is an animal which emits foul smell. And no other animal likes to play with it. This leads to his being ostracized. He's being shunned by other small creatures. And he becomes very lonely, cries that nobody wants to play with him. Roger Skunk now goes to the wise owl for his advice. Who directs him that his problem could be solved only by the wizard. He tells him where to find wizard. Roger Skunk goes to meet wizard. Wizard hears him and then tells him what type of smell does he want. Roger Skunk says that he wants rose smell. Smell of roses. Now, to make the long story short, he comes to the playground and all the other small creatures begin to play with him. Now, here Joe thinks that it's a happy ending. But Roger, no, but Jack wants to teach him some moral about the story, and he says that the story is not complete. He adds that when Roger Skunk goes with the smell of roses to his house, his mommy takes objection and takes him to the wizard and hits him hard so as to and directs him that he should change the smell from roses to awful smell again, bad smell again, which he does. Okay. Now, hitting on the head by the mother, my mommy skunk, on the head of the wizard, the child thinks that wizard had done a good job. He made Roger Skunk have friendly relations with others. And why should that be changed? So she doesn't like the ending of the story in this manner and wants it to be changed. While Jack, the father, says that mommy knows best for her child, and she was right. The story shows the clash. Now, this was in nutshell the summary of the story. Now we shall discuss some points in it which I liked to share it with you. One thing is that the child was very inquisitive. Now I will let you know. The child was very inquisitive and she interrupts him. Well, when he says that all the other creatures shunned him for his awful smell, foul smell, she immediately suggests to her father that wouldn't he go to the owl, go to the wise owl? Yeah. Yes. Won't he see the owl? She asked in a high and faintly roughened voice. The child has been listening to all these stories. Fish, chipmunk, and this rabbit, squirrel. Squirrel is also there. So, and by this time, she is used to the style of the story being narrated by Jack. So she interrupts. What do you see the owl? Next, when the owl says that he can't solve the problem, you will have to go to. Now here again, when he says that what can I do, Joe cries. The wizard, Joe shouted and sat right up, and a little golden book spilled from the red bag. Now you see the story is being told so that the child should go to sleep. But the child is so alert that do you think he will that the child will go to sleep when she is so inquisitive? In this case also, she again suggests the wizard, the wizard. Jack finally gets irritated. He says that, now Joe, Daddy is telling the story. Do you want to tell Daddy the story? No, you, me. Again, when they go to the wizard, then yes. Are magic spells real? She had been hearing about the wizard earlier, and now she asks him this question. Are magic spells real? This was a new phase. Just this last month, a reality phase. Now, the 2-year-old child has turned into 4-year-old and has become inquisitive. A new phase has come, the reality phase. So, what was Jack's reply? They are real in stories, Jack answered curtly. Then she asks about creek, because Roger Skunk had to go through creeks and woods to find the house of the wizard. She asks him, what is a creek? C-R-I-C. What is a creek? A little river. He tells her a little river. Again, will he die? About wizard, this is a very old man, and he lives in a house which is not clean, because the old man lives by himself only and does not have any maid servant to look after his house. Because he is old, the child asks, will he die? The answer is no. Wizards don't die. Well, he rummaged around and found an old stick called Magic Wand and asked Roger Skunk what he wanted to smell like. Roger thought and thought and thought and said, roses. So, again, he says that Wizard's house was full of smell, roses, roses. Roger Fish cried, and the wizard said, very frankly, that will be 7 pennies. Now, 7 pennies, she had not heard it. She just interrupted him because he had said Roger Fish. Because earlier this story was being told about Roger Fish also. So there was a slip of tongue. Jack said that Roger Fish began to smell like roses. She corrects him that, Daddy, what? Roger Skunk, you said Roger Fish. Oh, yes, Skunk. She's so alert. She's being told stories so that she would go to sleep. But see what's happening. Again, they began, and when he comes back to the playground, everybody likes him because he's smelling like roses. So they play various games, and one of the games is pick up sticks. So she asks, "What's pick up sticks?" It's a game you play with sticks, like the wizard's magic wand, kind of. And they played games and laughed all afternoon, and then it began to get dark, and they all ran home to their moms. And Jack is, Joe is satisfied that all's well that ends well. Roger's skunk is smelling like roses. His hero must look handsome and liked by all. So she thought the story was all over. He says, "Now Joe, are you listening?" "Yes." "Because this is very interesting." Roger Skunk's mommy said, "What's that awful smell?" So Jack is not in a mood to end the story, leave the story at this juncture. He wants some moral to teach his daughter. So, when he says that, Jo sat up, her hands dabbling in the air with genuine fright, because she can't fathom it. She can't relish it that mother could spoil the pleasures of his son. But what was going on in the mind of the mother? Mother was thinking that this awful smell is their defense mechanism. This smell saves them from other predators. They can't attack them because of their foul smell. But the child doesn't understand. She says, "No," she said, and put her hand out to touch his lips in her agitation. Even in her agitation, but didn't quite dare to stop the source of truth. Inspiration came to her. So, like that, no, the wizard said, okay. You smelled very bad again? Now, John, it's Daddy's story. Shall Daddy not tell you any more stories? No, he's threatening her. And he won't tell her stories again. But even this threat doesn't come in the way of the agitation that Joe shows. But Daddy, what? Then did the other little animals run away? The answer Jack gives, no, because eventually they got used to the way he was and did not mind it at all. And even he says that when she says that this was a stupid mommy. It was not, Jack says. So when he thinks that she's now going to sleep because the story is complete, and he goes out of her room, she protests. She says, Daddy, what? Tomorrow I want you to tell me the story that that wizard took that magic wand and hit at mommy. Her plum palms chopped forcefully right over the head. See? No, that's not the story, Jack says. The point is that the little skunk loved his mommy more than he loved all other animals, and she knew what was right. This is Jack's version. Now that's what I am saying, that there was a clash between two generations about the ideas. So now we will take up the meanings of difficult words, and then we will take up the question and answers. Students, some meanings of difficult words is as follows. Nap, short sleep, which is short sleep. Fatiguing, tiring, when we feel tired after doing some hard work. Futile, useless, pointless, something which is of no use, it's futile. Start, inspired, solemn peace, seriously, zest, great enthusiasm. When we have great passion for something to do, we want to do something, we have great zest, great enthusiasm. Drooped, bent. Drooped is when see our mouth is as if we are weeping, mouth is drooping down. Drooped, bent. Drooped also means that when you're bending your back, drooped is also bent. Tug, to pull hard or suddenly. You pull somebody, that's called tug. Relapsed, slid back. A person had become healthy, but when he again was affected again by the same disease, he says that he has relapsed into this that disease. Slid back. Sly. Sly means cunning. When somebody is very he cheats you, he's a cunning person. Sly. Curtly, abruptly. When somebody asks you and you're in a very agitated mood already, you talk to him curtly, abruptly, in such a way that the other person feels offended. Curtly, abruptly, rapped, hit hard several times. Now, like this, we strike at something, we rap it, hit hard several times. Clenched, squeezed. Clenches, they like this. When we squeeze our fist, is clenched, squeezed. Infantile, childish. Anything which is related to child, childish. Thrill, a sudden feeling of excitement. Thrill, zest, like zest. Thrill, a sudden feeling of excitement. Rheumi, a watery discharge from eyes or nose. Eyes, or watery discharge, it's called rheumi. Rheumage, turn over things and make them untidy while searching for something. This was when the wizard searches for the magic wand from all the other things lying in his room in a haphazard manner. Then his image turn over things and make them untidy while searching for something. Smugly means feeling excessively pleased or satisfied. When you are when all your worries are over, you feel satisfied, smug. Trance is a daze. When a psychiatrist looks at a person and tells him to see this pendulum only, he is putting that person into a trance. Trance is a daze. That person is dazed. Then gaze is stare. Staring, constantly looking at a person. Stare. Rapt, completely fascinated. When you give all your attention to somebody, with rapt attention to hear somebody, listen to somebody, that's all. Rapt, completely fascinated. Then faking. You are very worried and sad, but when your children come, you don't show it. You feign that you are happy. Feigning. Rumbled, rolled or moved with noise. Rumbled. Moved. Rolled or moved with noise. Rumbled. Apprehensive. Worried or frightened. When we are apprehensive, we are anxious that everything is okay at the other end. Apprehensive. We become apprehensive of somebody's wellness. Then dabbling means moving, scattered off, moved very quickly. Agitation means state of anxiety. Sifted light from behind the curtains. Sifted light means you have seen a pot which has holes in it, and it's a sieve, like sieve. Light comes through a sieve in a manner that is called sifted light. Astounded, shocked. Astounded, we become astounded at a news, at a sad news, very shocking. So these are the meanings of different words. Now we will take up the answers to some questions to understand the whole this chapter. Let's take these four probable questions. What's the moral issue that the story raises? How did Joe want the Roger Skunk story to end in life? On the other hand, why does Jack insist that it was the wizard that was hit and not the mother? And last, why is an adult perspective on life different from that child? Now, children, we have already dealt with the story. We can cite a few lines from that story to make our point, and then we should bring these points into area. What are those points? That what's the purpose of telling stories to a child? It's the children hear stories for relaxation and for pleasure. Children like to hear stories for pleasure and for relaxation. bombard them with some moralistic views. Huh? And that too when the child has grown up and is inquisitive. It's questioning your authority. No more. But the adult tries to say, he says that there should be unquestionable obedience. Jack insists, unquestionable. Parents demand that the children should have unquestionable obedience. They should accept what is being told to them. But what is in their mind? They are not ready to buy that idea. And for that, what do? They say that Roger is entitled to pleasant smell. Why? Because it gets him friends. Why Jack insists that there should be unquestionable obedience? Because they hold the view that we should not interfere with the nature. Right? That they say that why? Because there's the foul smell protects them from other animals. Skunk's foul smell protects them from other animals. But this reason is hard to be accepted by the child. So, why is an adult's perspective on life different from that of a child? This is, we have a realistic approach. Adults, right? I am also an adult. That's all I do. Adults have a realistic view of the world, and they want their children not to suffer for anything. That's why they want that their children too should have unquestionable obedience towards them. Okay, and then mothers can't. This is adults' perspective. mothers can't hurt, they deserve unconditional love. Mothers can't hurt, they deserve unconditional love. And इसी लाइन को लेते हुए हम what is natural is not disgraceful. For all these questions, we can memorize these ideas, and we can expand these ideas to say that adults have unquestionable obedience, while mothers deserve unconditional love. What's natural is not distasteful. One should not interfere with the nature, and they hold realistic view, while children like to hear stories for pleasure and relaxation. They don't want that they should be taught morally. So I hope we have enjoyed this chapter, and next we will take up the study of poets and pancakes in the next lesson. That will be our next lesson. Thank you.